This week on This Week in Our Collective Heads, we're talking about Hearthstone and many other things, including Terry Crews rants and other fun stuff. So check it out.
Doom, DLC, and discounts.
Yeah.
This week in our collective heads, wanna put an old rumor to bed. Stereotype that you've all heard, how we're all just angry video game nerds. Most of us have actual jobs, kids and families and cats and dogs, yeah. This week in our collective heads, this week in our collective heads.
Welcome to This Week in Our Collective Heads. I'm Kevin, and I'm joined as always by Patrick, the man who has seen the room more time than you and all your friends combined.
Yes, unless your name is Devin Pike.
The man
may
who
have
has seen
beat
the
me.
room more time than you. Well, if you count all his friends.
Yeah. No, you know, hold on. We may have to talk about this, because I think I've seen it about 21 or 22 times now.
Yeah.
So I may...
We'll talk about it some other time.
Yeah.
But anyway, because we're here for video game news. That's what our show is about. That's what we bring you. And we're going to go ahead and start, as we always do, with the backwards compatible games. And I swear I'll let him talk eventually. So Costume Quest 2 from 360 to Xbox One. And I think you reviewed that for the roundup.
I did. I reviewed it for the roundup for Xbox. And this game is fun. It's quirky, it's whimsical, it doesn't take itself seriously, which I appreciate. The basic premise is you're some kids who dress up for Halloween and you get sucked into a portal and you go to all these different places and, you know,
So
like you do.
Standard Halloween,
Like
basically.
you do. And all your costumes give you different powers depending on what the costume is, and you're trying to take down an evil dentist. So it's fun. I mean, if you already have it, it's backwards compatible, so good for you.
And then we have Virtua Fighter 2, which is super blocky.
Yes.
It's generic Tekken, basically. Because
This is Tekken before Tekken, man.
Right.
Virtua Fighter?
Yeah, but Virtua Fighter 2 came out after Tekken.
Yes, but Virtua Fighter 1 came out before Tekken in the arcade.
That's not what we're talking about, Patrick. Look at the notes.
It's all about history. Ultra blocky stuff is fine because of the history involved.
I also like the drunk guy who later showed up in Tekken
Yes.
as Wang.
Yes.
Because that's just funny.
Yeah, Virtua Fighter was great. I remember, like, I know I've said this a ridiculous amount of times, but my mind was completely blown when I was in the arcade as a kid and playing Mortal Kombat and went over to play Virtua Fighter, and I watched someone sidestep. And by sidestep, I don't mean step back and step forward. They sidestepped and a kick evaded them, and I was just completely overwhelmed by that.
Yeah. And then we have Quantum Conundrum, which is a game, it kind of takes some of the same principles as Portal, but it's like a kiddie version.
Okay.
And like you're moving around blocks and trying to do stuff, and then it adds in, instead of the Portal gun, there's like a time thing, so you can manipulate objects within time.
Oh, that's interesting.
And then so like you can set up a chain reaction to do what are those machines called? You know what I'm talking about, though.
Not Gutenberg. Is it Gutenberg? Something. It starts with a G.
Okay.
I can't believe I'm blanking on this.
Okay, so if you've ever seen Wile E. Coyote flick something and then watched 5 minutes of reactions to that, that's basically what you're trying to set up for most of these games. So so that's Quantum Conundrum, and then the last one is Frontlines FOW, which I assume stands for
Fog of War.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
So Frontlines Fog of War, you may think is a generic shooter because it sounds very generic, but what actually is happening is you're playing a squadron, or whatever they called when they're on the ground, a unit of men who are in a battle during World War I, which is cool because World War I, and then all of a sudden this fog just completely overwhelms them, and they think, oh, maybe it's weather. And some of them are scared because of the mustard gas and everything.
Right.
But it's aliens.
Oh,
yes.
So a World War I invaded by aliens. Precluded by the Fog of War.
Correct. And that's why they call it Fog of War.
Right.
Yep.
So that's a game that doesn't exist, and is definitely not what is actually on this title. Because if we don't know the game that's backwards compatible, we have fun with it. We make up a game and hope that maybe someday someone will make like a montage of all these games. And we think that'd be fun.
If we don't know what it is, you might not know what it is. If you do know what it is, let us know in the comments. Because I didn't know this game, and for these, we specifically don't research because it's fun.
Yeah.
It's kind of a game for us. In addition to that, we did get some pretty cool news out of Edward McMullen, which we're both fans of. The End of Night is actually coming to Switch. So before the end of the year, PS4 not long after that, which is very cool.
No, the other way around. PS4 is coming first. It's confirmed, and it's coming.
Okay.
And it's currently out on Steam. I've seen a little bit of gameplay, and it looks. It's gonna slaughter me so many times, and I cannot wait.
Yes.
It's the Super Meat Boy guy, and he's kind of going back to that kind of style, but he's bringing in more characters from the world that he's created. With
the Macmillan-verse, if you
Binding
will.
of Isaac. He also said that he's hoping to release Legend of Bumbo by the end of the year.
Okay.
On Steam also. So yeah, so that's fun. And just minor tidbit to add to that. Behold the Kickmen was released this week by the same guy who did The Swindle, and it's kind of like a joke football game. Soccer. I forget I mostly talk to Americans. But yeah, so it's like a joke soccer game, and we've got it. I'm gonna see if I can run it. If I can, I'll be streaming it. If not, then I'm gonna see if I can convince this guy who, puts down the money and then has someone else fill out his bracket for the World Cup. True story.
I did it, and I
we
won.
won.
Well,
We won. Yeah, we did.
To everyone else, I won.
Exactly.
I'll try it out. The best part of that story was though that I did the World Cup bracket, enlisted you to give me your picks, won the World Cup bracket, and then right afterwards, the person who ran that came up and said, "Hey, we got this next thing. It was fantasy football or whatever," and I was like, "No, I already beat you at your game. I don't want to play anymore." Just to mess with him.
Mic drop. Walk out. Please don't ask me any more questions. Please don't ask me any more questions.
Are you tired of being beaten? Come on.
Yeah. All right. So we have some news of Nintendo being weird about online.
Yeah.
We
Never happens.
Yeah. So we've got some more info on the Switch Online
Yes.
app. So that has been up and running because it started with the Splatoon 2 demo starting.
It did.
And it's a crazy contraption. The main issue that I have with it is that when you're running the chat app, it won't run in the background and your screen has to stay on
Correct.
the entire time.
Correct. Now, I want to play slight devil's advocate. I say slight because the Twitch app does the same thing. If I want to watch Twitch, the comments on like the Twitch stream, and I'm playing at the same time, then if the phone goes dark or whatever, I have to go back into the app, and then it kind of reloads a bit. But we're talking about live audio. That's where
We're talking about
That's
a
what I'm
chat
saying.
app. So like Google Hangouts
Yes.
or Skype
Yes.
or a phone.
a phone does all this in the background.
Yeah, any chat app will allow you to do that. So you can't do anything else. You can't switch to another app and check something.
Yep. Someone
and the
texts
screen
you,
has
I
to
need
be-
to read that text. Guess what? It's over. It's over. Yeah. So it's. I don't understand why they did this not being able to background it, because they kept saying, well, everyone has their phone with them and we want to make sure that people don't have to carry around extra things, which I was like, that's stupid, because if I have my phone, I've got headphones, which means I can plug headphones into the freaking Switch.
Yeah, and
Like that's how this should have worked. That's
Yep.
how this should have worked from the get-go. If you're like, I know that part of it is the stupid design of where is the headphone jack on the bottom? I can't even remember now. No, the charger's on the bottom. Headphone jack's on the top. So you could...
Wait, so it has a headphone jack, but it's not two-way?
It has a headphone, like regular headphone jack, but it's not a microphone headphone jack, if I'm not mistaken. I haven't looked at the specs completely on it, but it doesn't make any sense for it not to do this, because they did the headphones so that way you can play with headphones, but
Yeah.
why not just let me do a microphone as well? I think part of it has to do with the processing. They're trying to make the Switch as powerful as they can with as little hardware as they can.
And this is it's kind of a weird it's kind of the opposite of what Microsoft did when they launched the Xbox One, because they had a whole section reserved just for like the processing
Exactly
and
right.
the Kinect,
Yes.
and like all of this was separate and kept away from developers,
Yeah.
and so they weren't able to access it. And here they're kind of doing the opposite, but they're doing it in a way that's detrimental to the gamers.
Exactly.
And in continued online, kind of predictable but still disappointing and related to Nintendo news, Pokemon Go Fest, which we don't talk about Pokemon Go. There's news, I guess,
Not a lot.
but it's not really anything that we think you're interested in. It's not something that we're interested in. If it is something you want us to cover, let us
Yeah.
know in the comments, either on the video or hit us up on Twitter, on
Yeah.
Facebook, wherever. Reach out to us and let us know. But this weekend they have the first like live location event, and that's Pokemon Go Fest in Chicago. And this is supposed to be the release of the legendaries, which the people who were there who were playing, they were able to defeat it.
Yes.
And so legendaries are now out in the world as far as
Raid
Pokemon
style,
go.
yeah. It's really cool. I like that idea.
Right.
Too late, but I like it.
But when they were trying to do the event, people who were physically present were not able to play because the servers were crashing. And so the CEO of Niantic comes out and he gets chanted and booed off the stage with
was it Fix the Game?
Fix the Game.
Fix the Game.
Yeah. and okay, so they started off they didn't know how big it was going to be, and it took them like 2 or 3 months to get the thing just up and running and functional. But yeah. So it's kind of similar to what they were doing before, but it's still disappointing. And I know that there are people who traveled out, like Andrew Goldfarb from IGN, like spent his own money to fly to Chicago and be like, yeah, I want to be here. I want to be doing this thing.
Part of the community. I mean, that's what this game is about. It's about community. It's about meeting people. It's about getting out of the house. There's a lot of positive to this game, but I don't know.
But if it doesn't work,
yeah,
you can't do that.
No, you can't.
So yeah, but something you can do in less than a month now.
Less than a month.
Yeah, you will be able to play Undertale on PlayStation 4 and Vita, and this makes me so happy because
I didn't realize it was coming out that soon.
Yeah.
I'm very excited about this because this game has been on PC and
huge.
It's huge. It has a huge following. And when you have smaller games like this, it's you have only a handful of developers or maybe a single developer where they're saying, okay, well, I want to port it to this console, but I also need to do this updates, and maybe I want to work on another project. So you have limited bandwidth, and when I see something that small come over to a console, I'm really excited because there's a huge market on the consoles that are missing a lot of these smaller games because they take one person to 1 or 2 people per.
And it's also. For the developers, it's very difficult because you don't know what kind of return you're going to get on consoles. But Undertale has been something that's been kind of a phenomenon because there's multiple playthroughs, there's different endings, there's different ways you can play it, and I've deliberately avoided spoilers on this one because I believed it was big enough to come to console, just like I believed the same with whatever that farm one was.
Stardew Valley.
Stardew Valley. Yeah. And I was right, it did. But this one is actually coming to Vita, which makes sense because 8-bit graphics and everything. But just because it makes sense or it's possible doesn't mean it, because the Vita is kind of on its way out. It seems like most of the smaller devs are kind of switching to Switch. And that makes sense. That is the new handheld now. Because it's powerful enough to actually run games, unlike the 3DS. Yeah. The 3DS runs Nintendo games great, but third party just doesn't come there. Nothing gets ported to 3DS.
That's true.
And the Vita is much. It was able to do some PS3 stuff, but when it came to PS4, Xbox One, that's just not the same thing.
No, it's
but
not.
the Switch makes sense as a portable. This is the new portable, and so as of 2 weeks ago, I am no longer asking for things to be ported to Vita. I will continue to play them when they come there, but yeah, Switch is the next thing, and that's where the devs kind of need to go. Yeah. But Undertale is coming to Vita, and that makes me extremely happy.
I think you're right. For devs, that and everything that I've heard from developers, the Switch being very easy to program on. Yes, you are programming for the lowest common denominator, if you will. You are programming for the weakest system. Yes, that is true. But at the same time, if you get a game to run smoothly on that console, you're going to have a huge market. The Switch, the Switch came out 4 months ago. It's just getting more and more and more people buying them. They can't keep them in stock for the most part.
Yeah, when we can find them, we buy them.
And the sales for the Switch were higher than anyone predicted. I saw analysts who were saying that they were talking about the Switch, failing, and it was going to be another flop. Other people who were like, yeah, it could probably do pretty well, but most people have a 3DS, so they won't really have a reason to buy the Switch. Yeah, you were wrong. And everyone bought a Switch. So now we have, what was it? It outsold the PS4 in its first month from the PS4's first month. I mean, it's like...
Something like that,
It's ridiculous. But part of the reason for the shortage is dealing with that and dealing with competing for the actual chips in the device. So they're having to compete for that with cell phone developers, specifically Apple, and some of their hardware. And it's frustrating. But at the same time, they're trying their damnedest. They didn't expect this. I don't think I expected it, but most people didn't.
Yeah.
I have faith in the Switch.
So yeah, August 15th, that's coming to Vita, and I'm gonna buy it and I'm gonna play it.
Yeah. But July 27th.
July 27th.
Just in time for Whitney's birthday.
Yeah.
Doomfist.
Happy birthday, Whitney.
Yes.
Doomfist has been on the PTR for the last week or so.
Yeah.
And so we talked about him last week, and then now he's coming to everywhere, to the real servers.
Yes. I haven't played Overwatch in a while, but I'm disappointed that this wasn't Terry Crews.
Yeah, but he's doing what's Crackdown.
Yeah, I know
he is Crackdown 3.
I know.
And I want to play that game so much more because of that. And that is honestly a bigger role. We'll get to see more Terry Crews in that.
This is true.
Rather than just hearing him yell at me while he punches me in the face.
This is true. And
although that does have its own appeal.
There are a handful of actors that I'll watch whatever they do. And Terry Crews is one of them. Terry Crews and The Rock. Both muscular
Crews,
men, but that's not the reason. Because
Terry
they don't take
Crews
themselves seriously.
is the reason to watch White Girls.
Yes.
Because otherwise that's just...
It's a horrible movie.
Yeah, but Terry Crews is wonderful in it.
He is. Everything that I've watched, that I've seen him in, he is great in. And I'll watch anything with him. I may not go to the theater for it, but...
Yeah. And then we didn't get a whole lot of news out of Comic-Con, but Telltale Games did show up, and they brought the news.
Yes.
They talked about the next season, the second season of Batman and Wolf Among Us. Mm-hmm. The second season of Batman is only a couple weeks away. The first episode is coming out August 8th.
Yes.
Wolf Among Us and the final season of Walking Dead are coming in 2018.
Yeah.
So I didn't know that Wolf Among Us was going to get a second season because like the Wolf Among Us and Fables, the comic series.
Yeah.
Like that's a thing that kind of continues, but Bigby and Snow White, like it was a very self-contained story where like at the end of Walking Dead season 1, spoilers for anybody who hasn't played that yet. But yeah, the end of Walking Dead season 1, there is a big question mark of what happens to Clementine now that he's out of the picture.
Which makes sense.
So to explore that and find out what happens there. But Fables, like they created a world, told a story within it, and the story is going to continue. There's more possibilities for the story, but it didn't end with a question. I guess
exactly. I don't think that they were confident that a second season was warranted. I think that's really what it boils down to.
Well, Fables is the least known of all their IPs. I mean,
yes.
You've got Walking Dead, you've got freaking Batman.
Yep,
And
Batman,
then you've got Game of Thrones.
And Guardians of the Galaxy.
Guardians of the Galaxy came out after Wolf Among Us. So I consider that kind of their second round of stuff.
Sure.
But anyway, so yeah, Wolf Among Us was definitely their least pop culture-y one. Like it had the least buzz.
Yeah, it doesn't have a very huge tie-in IP.
Yeah. And so it was interesting to see that they are supporting it. They are keeping on going with that. However, things that are not keeping on going is Banner Saga for the Vita.
Yeah,
I'm not getting it.
Well, I'll tell you one more thing Comic-Con after you talk about that. But go ahead about Banner Saga.
Okay, so it's just a brief story that makes me sad. so we can get through that.
It's over.
Banner Saga was on Steam. It was a big thing, and Austin Wintory did the soundtrack for it, which is the main reason I was interested. And I heard some interesting things about it. It eventually came to PS4, and they kept saying, "Oh, it's coming to Vita. It's coming to Vita." It's not coming to Vita.
Yeah,
and I kind of knew this. But it's still a bummer to hear it declared that this is not happening.
And that's a game that I think would translate well to Vita, and that's the thing. That's
because
the sad part about it.
It's turn-based. It's strategy. I would have just put on my headphones and drifted away to Viking World.
It's sad. I liked Banner Saga, so this was unfortunate. We did have a little bit more of news out of Comic-Con, not to spoil anything for anybody, but it's not spoiling.
Do I need to plug my ears?
No, because it's not spoiling plot points. Michelle Pfeiffer is tied into the Ant-Man universe now.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So I believe she's playing Janet Van Dyne, which I'm very happy about. And one other thing that I'm very happy about with all the DC things, that I was like, okay, this is just, I want to be excited for Justice League, but right now I'm excited for Justice League for Wonder Woman, and I'm excited about Aquaman. That's really the two things that I'm excited about when it comes to Justice League. I hope that Batman's going to be done well, but the rest of the movie, they haven't shown me, even though the new trailers come out. I've been watching every single trailer, and every time I watch it, I'm like, all right, that's some action, and they're all there. Why do they all need to be there? And someone's saying they're all going to die, but why?
Yeah.
But we had a little bit of news that Flashpoint is going to do a live action frickin' movie.
Friggin' Flashpoint. That makes me happy.
It makes me very happy and
nervous at the same time.
And I have a prediction.
All right.
So, for those who don't know, Flashpoint deals with the Flash, basically screwing up the timeline. Mm-hmm. And going in, trying to save his mother, going into an alternate present day,
right?
And everything is different. And my prediction with this, we get a huge mashup, and all this weird stuff is going on, and then when everything is righted, everything is brought back, Batfleck's gone.
Ooh,
mic drop, recast.
Okay. Are we putting?
Yes.
Are we putting that? Okay. The
official
predictions.
Official prediction.
So he has the possibility when Justice League comes out to lose another point.
It won't be until Flashpoint.
Right. Flashpoint.
Till Flashpoint.
Yeah, whatever. But
I have a possibility.
Okay.
That is my prediction.
But okay, Civil War and Flashpoint are my favorite comic book arcs of all
Civil
time.
War 1, right?
Yeah, definitely. Secret Wars, Civil War 2, those are fun, but Civil War 1 was timely and poignant, and it's just magnificent.
There's so many parallels between that and gun rights and terrorism and
immigration and patriotism
and
patriotism. But anyway, so yeah, we're excited about Flashpoint, and I think Flashpoint was on Netflix. If not on Netflix, it's on Amazon.
Yeah.
We encourage you to go watch that, or watch it again on Amazon. So because it's
excellent.
It's pretty wonderful.
So the official prediction is Flashpoint happens, blah 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 blah. At the end of Flashpoint, we have a different Batman actor. The reason that I say this is because Ben Affleck has had a lot of behind the scenes drama when it comes to doing the Batman movie, doing future Justice League stuff. He has multiple times said he may not be Batman, or he backed out as director, if I'm not mistaken. Kept going back and forth on director for Batman. I don't even remember if he's the director anymore, because he was going to direct the Batman.
Right, and it just keeps changing.
And I'm saying the Batman because that's the working title, not because I'm an old person. Like, the Batman. He was going to direct the Batman.
Right.
And then he said no, and then yes, and then he was like, only if it has a good script, and then he backed out. I'm like, fuck, the script must be horrible. So I think that all of that going on, I think that he will be recast at that point.
Okay.
Now, I'm not a prediction on that, obviously, but I think that's the prediction.
But speaking of movies that are probably going to be horrible, they're making a Mega Man movie.
No.
I don't know. I don't know why. I do think the Mega Man TV series is supposed to come out sometime this year. They said originally summer 2017. Yeah. Still haven't seen it.
It's supposed to come out. I just don't have any faith in this movie. There's comic book and comic book adaptations are even better. Sorry, video game adaptations are really hard to do right, and there are ways to do it correctly. There are ways to get to bring it to the screen the right way, but for the most part, it's usually done poorly because you lose that sense of agency. You're no longer playing the character. You are watching the character. So you have to not only have a good enough plot and a character for that to take hold. but you have to have it in the right hands of someone who understands it. And there's certain games, obviously, that translate very well to this. The Last of Us, Uncharted. There are ones that you can just go, oh, you know what? I'm just going to take this game and I'm just going to make a script out of that game, and it would be great. But there are some that, like Mario Brothers, is a perfect example of that. How do you translate Mario onto the big screen? And
nobody's figured it out yet.
Nobody's figured it out yet because every time we do, it's every time they try something, it's horrible. Even the cartoons are horrible.
I do think that Mega Man lends itself well to an animated series though, because you have this massive like rotating cast of characters. You can bring in like one of the things I used to do with the girls, and we'll move on from this and kind of speed it up after this, but. One of the things I used to do with the girls when I laid them down is I would put them to bed and I'd be like, all right, story time. And each of you gets to pick a Robot Master.
Yeah.
And then I'll tell a story about Mega Man and those two Robot Masters. And like, we did that for like a month and came up with like all these different combinations because like one of them might repeat, they wanted to hear about Iceman again.
Sure.
But this time instead of Iceman teaming up with Wave Man, this time he'd team up with Pharaoh Man, and that's ice and fire. It's a different combination, and so it works really well for an animated series. A movie makes me nervous.
It works well for animated and also anime and that style. You need something very out there. You need something very, very whimsical. The only other way to do Mega Man, other than doing very self-aware Pacific Rim style, if you're doing live action, Pacific Rim style self-aware, this is, we know this is fantasy, we know this is ridiculous, and we're going to give you something ridiculous because we know it is. The only other way to do it would be to do it like a dark, grim, futuristic thing.
The Mega Man X anime does that.
Yeah.
And it does well.
Exactly.
So, we got a couple of demos this month. We got one for the Surge, which you've played, and I think that video is going to go up sometime this week. And then we got a demo for Doom.
Yes.
They also announced that the DLC for Doom is going to be free and discounted the entire game to $6.66, which is just wonderful. I love that.
Doom was great. Just real briefly on Doom, I think a lot of people played it. I'm glad a lot of people played it because it was a good reboot. It was a good reboot of a good IP. I was very happy about that. I was really happy to see the Surge get a demo. This is what games like this need to have. I just sound like a broken record here. They need to have betas, demos, open weekends where we can jump in and play these. Because the Surge is one that I looked at and said, well, I've played Dark Souls, and this is future Dark Souls from a developer.
From the developer that made Lords of the Fallen that we played and went, nope.
Lords of the Fallen was one of those rare cases when I well, not rare cases, but playing with Games with Gold, I played and went, okay, if I always put myself in this position, if I paid X amount of dollars for this, would I be happy with the product? And
whatever number
I got
you
down
put
to
on
5, where I was like, I guess for $5, like I could have seen it. 10, I would have been like, man, this better have some real good long game.
I got ripped off by my $10.
Yeah, $10, $20 would have been like, I don't feel right on this. 5, like, okay, cool, because that's less than I spend on a movie. I go jump in, but
see, you have different criteria than me because I was irritated at getting it for free.
Well, the Surge takes the Soulsborne aspect of hardcore grind, not really grind, corpse running, and dying a lot, and it takes it into the future. One of the things that I thought was interesting about it, which two of the things I thought were interesting about it that I immediately knew were stupid when I started playing the game is one, it deals with global warming and how this large corporation is going to go fix the global warming, which I'm assuming they probably caused. And they do that by creating these exoskeleton suits so you can do different work. So you exoskeletons of like have a someone who does like big load lifting and stuff is I can't remember what they call them, but then you have field technicians, the one I picked, which is more like agile. Those are your two choices.
And I like that from a gameplay perspective, but and I'm sure you have all this kind of laid out in the video. So if you're interested in the Surge, go check that out. Yeah. But we are excited that both Doom and Surge got demos. gonna cut you off because we still have a couple more things to go here. But if you just want to listen to him talk when I can't even interrupt him, you can go watch his video on the Surge demo.
Yes, but for now, Ark Survival is actually being released.
Yeah, version
Finally?
version 1.0.
Which I forgot wasn't officially released already, because this thing's been on been on beta,
it's on
green light, whatever.
And it's on early access on Xbox.
For what, a year? 2 years?
Yes,
8 years?
it's been out for a while.
I think when I started walking, the game started development. It's the game. This is what gets confusing to me. When it comes to these kind of games, I like that developers do something like this, but there needs to be a huge change up when 1.0 comes out. Now it's not going to wipe the servers.
One of the
I'm very happy about
one
that.
of the changes that was anticipated was wiping the servers, and I think, I don't know, as someone who's not invested in this, I think that when you do a launch, you should wipe the servers.
Usually you do,
but people have been playing it for so long that that's a lot of progress to wipe, and I understand that you need to listen to the community, and so, like, their intent was probably to wipe the servers, but now understanding how much people have put into this game, there's some poor guy that's been playing and has like 1,000 hours into this game and has all of the things, and
and I good on you for doing that, but when it comes to betas, when it comes to early access, I always anticipate that they're going to change up so much and they're going to server wipe, because this is you getting access to the game for free to try out some stuff and for them to see what you're doing, and it's free beta, it's free game testing for them. They can see you break the game. They have the community telling them what's going on. It's wonderful for both sides, but I always assume it's all going to be over soon, so I'm not going to invest that much time in it.
Something you should invest time in, though, is Retro City Rampage, which is apparently coming to Switch like within the next week or two.
Yeah, crazy.
Which I played that on Vita. I picked it up a couple weeks ago on sale.
Yeah,
that game is fun. It's like,
I may have to pick it up. It looks ridiculous,
Yeah.
Cartoony, old school GTA kind of like mayhem.
Well, not only that, but it has like it has a DeLorean, and it has like turtles crawling out of the sewers.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, like there's just like 80s everything. It's not just 80s video games. It's 80s culture compressed into
amazing.
Into 8 bits.
That's cool.
And it's dumb and fun, and the references are really entertaining. Final Fantasy 15. Okay, so there's a new suit that they put into the game that is Magitech exosuits, and these Magitech exosuits make your party invincible for 30 minutes.
As if you needed more things to break the game or make the game less interesting. Because to me, breaking the game for that long, why?
Yeah, if it was like 30 seconds, like 15 seconds to dodge an attack, like they summon these shells that like absorb one massive attack from a creature,
like a 1 day cooldown or something to that effect that does it.
Yeah, and it has the 1 day cooldown, but you could log in, play for half an hour, and then come back tomorrow and then just play through the entire game invincible. I don't understand why this was
over and over
why
again.
this is a thing.
I think it's for like the long boss battles, maybe, where if you're playing a longer boss battle and you
if you're
frustrated,
fighting the Turtipod,
and exactly, and I think that this is part of the modern culture of coddling and hand-holding gamers. And it really bothers me. I really believe that's what it is, because so many people will pick up games nowadays and go, "This is hard," then just quit, sell the game, throw it away, whatever. Because
if you do a fight for 30 minutes and you're invincible and you're just using all how is that fun?
It's not challenging. It's not, to me. It's not fun.
Not even challenging. But how is it fun to like hold X and occasionally pick things? I don't know. Hey, tell me about Hearthstone.
Okay, so Hearthstone has a couple festivals. We just finished the Fire Festival. We're maybe still.
We're
in it.
Segue of the week.
Yes. So the Fire Festival for Hearthstone. This is all leading up to the new expansion.
Frozen Throne.
Yeah, Frozen Throne. And leading up to the expansion, we had the Flame Festival because before ice there's fire. So. Which I thought was really cool because it was basically giving you bonuses to quests. So your daily quests that you can do, it was giving you double the gold. So gathering a bunch of cards, which was really cool,
right.
Or gathering a bunch of gold if that's how you want to do it, which is what I've been doing. Is just amassing gold because the new expansion is going to be coming out.
Right.
So the Frost Festival, the Ice Festival, what it's called, Ice Festival, is out, and this one deals more with getting people to play the tavern brawls, which are it's drafting in Hearthstone. So you pick your hero type, so shaman or whatever it is. You're given a choice of 3 of the 9. You pick that, and then they start giving you random 3 cards. So you're not actually drafting like Magic.
Right.
Magic Gathering Online actually has a legit drafting system.
Yeah,
you wait
pretty,
to get in a queue.
It's pretty wonderful.
You sit and then you get the actual cards. So this you don't get that. You get 3 random cards, and then you pick your deck based on that. You don't pick extra and then build the deck. You play what you picked and you jump in. So what they're doing with this is it's once a week they're giving you a free pass to do those, and I think they're trying to encourage people to do a couple things. They want that to be a viable option. They want it to be something that people do. They also want more people to play out of the ridiculous meta, and that deals with people who are buying cards or however they're doing it
and creating the perfect deck or.
Yep.
Yeah.
You create whatever the deck is right now, and you blast through it, and you abuse it, and you just keep. And or some people who may play more casually, they may not do that, but maybe they really like the hunter, or the warlock, or whatever it is. Which if warlock's all you play and you don't like the others, I'm curious because warlock's a harder thing to grasp, but.
I actually really like the warlocks
the
limited time that I played.
I love warlock, but it's more difficult because you're siphoning your own life because life is a resource for it. And I love that.
Yeah, it's fun.
But I think they're trying to get people to play outside of their comfort zone. They want people to go, well, I usually play Paladin, but let me try this kind of random thing. And I always see some weird interactions on that.
Yeah.
With Hearthstone, it's not broken. It's not broken to the point where too many people will grab stuff and have ridiculous combos. But what will happen is people will come up with not just interesting combos that are broken, but stuff that might not work normally in the meta. You get to actually see, much like drafting in Magic the Gathering. You see cards that if you looked at it and you went, I'm going to play in a competition, not playing any of those, and you actually get to see why a certain card is valuable or why a certain card just wrecks everything. They do give you more rares than a regular Magic the Gathering deck, so it's actually a decent deck.
Yeah,
it's fun though.
I like how they keep changing it. Like I'm just viewing this from externally, but it's really fun for me to watch and see how that's.
Yeah, I like they're keeping it healthy. They keep changing it up, and some people are upset because they keep changing the meta, the standard.
Well, I mean that's the same thing that they're doing with Overwatch.
It's Overwatch.
It's like they're constantly balancing it and shifting it, and so different because like Death Ball was the thing, and then players have to shift and adjust. And if you're going up against some people, this is Overwatch because that's the one I actually know to talk about. But like Death Ball is still a thing that works if you're going up against certain people, but it keeps the tournaments, the high level play from becoming stale, as well as constantly shifting this thing. You can create various metas, and then those can still be used in competitive, and see how it works. And if it doesn't work, then you can switch to it. Like your team gets wiped, you can change all the characters and come back with a completely new thing, and that's really fun. And Blizzard is one of the best at keeping it fresh, keeping it balanced.
Exactly.
So that's all the gaming news that we have for this week. We're bringing back a feature that we tried a little while ago, and that is YouTube channel recommendations. So if you're not watching us, which you should be,
Should
and
be.
you can subscribe and you know, like us on Facebook and Twitter and all that stuff. But yeah, we want to tell you about other cool things that we see on YouTube, and one of those is Folding Ideas.
Yes.
Folding Ideas is a really interesting channel that focuses on cinematography and helping you kind of deconstruct what it is that you're seeing and the reasons that directors choose to make certain creative decisions.
Yes.
And for me, it's really interesting because I've never really been into cinematography per se, but it is interesting to look at the elements of a film and understand why something is so fantastic. And it also kind of validates things. Like I watched the one on Independence Day.
Yeah.
And Independence Day, I love, and most of the people that I talk to love Independence Day, but I had never understood why that one holds up when other ones don't. And it like there's a part at the very beginning, Jeff Goldblum's first scene. He's sitting there, he's talking with his dad, he's playing chess. They have like a 5-minute conversation, and Folding Ideas deconstructs why that scene establishes this character, what it tells us about the character and lays down a background for the character in like 5 sentences.
Yeah.
And this scene,
discussing his ex-wife and his job and so much, and his relationship with his father,
and his approach to the environment,
Yes.
and belief about humanity, and all of this is done in a scene where it doesn't really seem like anything's happening, but it's fast enough that you're like, okay,
And
well,
it's
I guess, yeah, it's natural, and it's really fun to see just how brilliant things can be in film that you might not notice. One caveat to that, it will make you notice mistakes in cinematography, in camera position, in lighting, in continuity. So it does make some movies harder to watch, but it makes you appreciate a well put together film even more.
Yeah.
So I recommend Folding Ideas as the channel for this week, and next week Patrick will have one for
Yes,
us.
I will.
So anyway, that's all the side quest news that we have. We went a bit long on that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so if you're on YouTube, we will see you next time.